Venus in Aries 2023. I'm actually really excited for this Venus in Aries that's actually happening right now. The reason why is because there's a certain dynamic that I feel a lot of people have been missing in the past little bit. And I'm really excited for people to start to like get back into their energy, get back into the vibes. Like the something that is so critical about Aries energy is that it is active. It is here, it is now, it is impulsive, it is showing you what fire is meant to be. It's the spark. What's pushing forward the heat? What's pushing forward your heart? That's what Venus in Aries does. It shows you exactly where your heart is aligned. And with that information alone, there's so much more that you can end up creating just based off of knowing how it is that you actually feel and accepting how it is that you actually feel. So when it comes to this Venus and Aries transit, I highly recommend everyone just do something brave and courageous every day. And it could be something so simple and you can define it exactly the way that you want it to be defined. But the idea behind this energy is that Venus is normally known as what's fall in this area. But I don't think Venus is in fall in Aries in the way that most people try to claim it to be. Venus in Aries does identify self first. And I think a lot of people try to make that a bad thing. But what Venus in Aries is so skilled at doing is making sure that everyone is held accountable for their actions, including their own. And that's not something that you see in every Venus sign. That's not something that you even see in every zodiac sign, right? And the idea behind this is, what is it that you actually want to make and put out into the world? How do you want your beauty to be shown? And that's how you embrace passion. Now, the pursuing love fearlessly part, that comes into a different area. Pursuing love fearlessly starts also from within. And it starts with a need and a want to actually make something happen. And Venus in Aries is trying to align you back into the thoughts, back into those feelings, the intuition that you had based off of what it is you feel, based off the fire of things, right? And that's something that I do really want to break down is that Aries is cardinal fire. Venus in Aries being in cardinal fire shows that it's time to start. It's time to initiate. Pisces season, although it is about kind of waiting wistfully and having your dreams come true, Venus in Aries is telling you to at least make those first steps, at least knock on that door, at least make that first phone call, at least put out that resume, because Venus in Aries is about that action. And if you're not about that action, a Venus in Aries is not going to respect you. Venus in Aries wants you to be about your word and do what it is that you have to do to keep that word. And by any means you can't do something, you just simply have the guts to let them know. And that alone will change their Venus in Aries' entire perspective of you. And they'll respect where you're coming from. Venus and Aries don't like cowards. They don't like people that are going to shy away from what they really feel. They don't like people that are going to say one thing and go the next way, or say that they care about something and then pretend that they don't the next. Venus and Aries wants to know that you're all there, all fire, all the time. And now that I've said the term of this transit enough for the SEO and the optimization and everything else like that, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I hope that y'all are going to be really enjoying this time. If you're new here, please leave a subscription little button. The subscribe, you know what I'm talking about. All that other stuff. I don't feel like saying it all right now, but appreciate you all for being here. And if you're just checking me out, check out my link down there in the description in order to get a reading from me, because it's pretty awesome. Speaking of link in the description, let me just show y'all real quick before we hop into it's gone. It's there. Here we are. But here is the link in the description for this upcoming, Venus and Aries. Every new video I have is always going to be at the top. Be sure to join the Lucky Stars Club. We're just getting started with that. And we're going to be doing a lot more within that chat and within that group. So if you want to be a part of a group of spiritualists, astrologers, creatives, fitness people, etc., please be sure to check that out, because we're going to be covering the basis of everybody and making sure everyone is basically really tapped in and knowing what's going on within their lives. And now, without further ado, let's get into what we've all been waiting for, which is this Venus in Aries transit. So let's get started. Venus in Aries started off on February 20th of 2023. And this is a significant reasoning, and that's because it was on the new moon in Pisces. The Venus in Aries happening on the new moon is a renewal, because where the sun is in the last sign of the zodiac, Venus, which is the second strongest light that we end up seeing on our planet, has just entered in Aries, restarting the cycle of that wheel. And so on one end, we have our outward expression trying to actually dive in a little bit, maybe be a little bit more mysterious, maybe be a little bit more creative, be a little bit more dreamy. Whereas Venus is telling you, yo, it's time for you to step up on the stage. It's time for you to say the things that you want. It's time to actively go for what you desire. And this is a very interesting dichotomy for this Venus in Aries transit. And the interesting dichotomy that ends up coming from this is, I want to be seen. However, how could I not be seen and still get things done? And part of that interesting dichotomy is sometimes you got to get your sleepy self up and start getting it going. Whereas other times is you just burnt out your energy. Please get some rest. Please get some recuperation. I am a prime example of this. Do not think I am exempt from any of the transits that I speak on. These are energies that are happening to all of us as a collective. And that's how that goes. Good evening to you too, my friend. But when it gets into this transit, we're going to have this right now until March 16th, right? So from now until March 16th, which is just before Aries season begins, this is the energy. This is the vibe. And as you can see, Venus just passed by Neptune, right? Venus making its way into Aries, passing through Neptune, is trying to be like, hey, that vision you have, here's some solid, concrete evidence that these things exist. And it's up to you, once Aries season begins, to fully implement that forward. But right now, Pisces, the sun being here, is trying to make sure that you download all the information that you need from your guides, from source, from spirit, in order for you to properly take them out when it comes to this Aries season next month, right? Think of this Venus in Aries as if it's equipping you with the equipment that you need in order to go and get the heist done. Pretend you're Batman about to grab on his utility belt and jump into the fray and into action. But what does he always do? Make sure he has that utility belt on. Why? Because the tools that you have are very important to you, especially when you're in a situation like Batman per se. He doesn't have no powers in the regular canon. He's just a regular dude with a trust fund, a lot of issues and a lot of issues and a lot of issues. But at the very same time, he's always first to fight the crime, to fight the problem, to go against what is bad, and to do what they think is just and right. I wouldn't be surprised if Batman had a Venus in Aries himself. Now, what's also important for this Venus in Aries is, let me double check this transit. So as we have Venus going through, we're going to have a different set of transits and conjunctions, and I'm going to be taking you through them with me in just a moment. I just want to make sure I have the proper dates for them and that that's all locked in. Once more, if you have any questions throughout this process, please be sure that you drop it down in the comments below, and I will be answering and addressing that. I'm really excited. Next week, I'm going to be doing the full moon in Virgo video. So I'm going to be doing the full moon in Virgo video a little bit earlier than I normally do, just to give people time to find it, just to give people time to tap in and like learn all they need to from it. before that transit even goes on. So you can set and make sure that you're ready for release, that you're ready for change, everything along the lines of that. And that's the true goal when it comes to everything there. So now let's talk about the path of Venus, right? If anyone, let me just double check the questions. We got anything? Okay, cool. So let's just actually break down what's coming up in this season. So the first major thing that I saw, let's switch that over to, all right, let's follow. We're going to be following Venus here, by the way. So the first thing that I saw that was happening that's significant is going to be right here on this very day. So let's tap back in. On, what's the day is it? March 2nd, we have Venus making its conjunction to Jupiter as well. Oh, sorry about that. We have this conjunction over to Jupiter as well as Chiron, right? And so when Venus is making a conjunction to both of these planets, what are we going to expect? What do we need to see? I'm about to hop in so we can really break this down. So what we end up seeing with this transit, Venus making its conjunction to both of these placements is an expansion of what you want, but it's also going to come at a cost of, have you healed properly through the last wounds in order for you to get the next thing? Did you get past the troubles that you had previously in order for you to accept something brand new? This is what's going to be on the forefront when Venus conjuncts Jupiter and Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer. It wants you to dig into your humanity, find what hurts, and help other people fix that part of themselves. Whereas Jupiter is the spiritual teacher. It wants you to go through these certain experiences so you can get those experience points, if that's the way you want to look at it. Venus making that conjunction is like your heart is going to be open in a way where it's also going to feel vulnerable. And it's the type of vulnerability that you had when you first had that first great idea and someone told you no. When you told that person, yo, I want to be a disco diva, and they were like, that's not possible. You can't do that. This is what the transit is going to be bringing up in people. So then it's up to you to figure out and decide, how are you going to move from there? Now, March starts up. March is going to be a very important month. I might actually do a whole breakdown on the month of March, period. But that's just the first thing that I'm seeing with this Venus and Aries transit that y'all got to look out for, right? It's going to be a really expansive day. Be sure even within those few days before and after, so basically the start of March, just know your heart is going to be hitting that mark from March 1st to March 3rd and a little bit after that. That's going to be the main situation going on with Venus during that time frame. I'm going to skip ahead over to the next transit that ends up happening that's important. And the next transit in this Venus cycle is going to be Venus making a sextile over to Mars, right? And Venus making a sextile to Mars normally means that there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity of change. There's an opportunity of something different, right? Aries and Gemini making a sextile is built off of just talking. I would highly recommend, honestly, people during this time frame around the 11th to just be out somewhere, like go to a bar, go to a club of some sort, go dancing, do something that's kind of exuberant and fun during this time frame, because I think there's going to be people there that are looking for what you're trying to do. And it's going to be something that happens organically. And that's the magic of this transit. It's like you head out, you do that thing, and then it's like, oh, now you just found out that you found the next person that was willing to hire somebody specifically in your field. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting from this. But Venus and Aries, once more, nothing moves in Venus and Aries unless you move it. Nothing moves in Venus and Aries unless you move it. Let me get you back over here, right? So what's so important about this movement? What's so important about this change? You're initiating it. And Venus and Aries is all about what you initiate, but you have to listen to the vibes of Pisces season. This Pisces season doesn't want you to do anything reckless. Pisces only wants you to technically do what the universe is trying to lead you to do. So then it ends up becoming, what are you planning on going to do? Because you can find yourself in that club. You can find yourself in that bar. Are you doing something that makes you completely uncomfortable? Or are you doing something where it's like, that's cool. Maybe you don't want to just go to a bar. Maybe you want to go to Dave & Buster's. Maybe you don't want to just go to like the movies. Maybe you want to go to like an IMAX. The idea is wherever you end up being around this time frame will connect you into different people and plug you into different people that are going to lead you forward on your path into becoming a better rendition of yourself. My ear just popped. That's mad real. That's really what's going to be going on when it comes to this transit for sure, right? And then the next part to this Venus in Aries, because we're just going to go through the major parts of Venus in Aries, and then I'm going to bring it back. We're going to talk for a little bit. These transit ones are going to be a bit shorter. The new moon and full moon ones, I'm going off on every time. But I at least want to give y'all a good understanding of what's coming up with these transits first before anything else. So I appreciate y'all for being here and for all the support in the process. So then Venus is about to do something fun right before it heads into, Venus is about to do something fun right before it heads into Taurus, right? And Venus goes into Taurus on the 16th, which we'll talk about then. But right now, until March 16th, it is about revving up that passion, right? From now until March 16th. From now until March 16th, you are revving up the passion and exuberance of your very freaking soul. The essence, that warrior, that I need to make this happen in you is going to be brought to the surface. Are you shying away from that assertion? Are you scared of what you'd be like if you happen to be direct? What if you did say exactly what you want? Are you scared of the rejection? It's not about the rejection. It's not about anything else except for the fact you were brave enough to do it. You were brave enough to put the first foot forward. And that's what matters in this Venus and Aries. If there's a time to shoot your shot at your crush, it is now. If it is a time to shoot your shot at something you want to aim at, it is now. Because no one's going to know what you need to say or what you feel until you say something about it. And that's what this Venus and Aries is trying to remind you. Push that forward. See that through. Can I get $1 for every time I've said this transit's name so far? Hopefully. That would be cool. But yeah, that's something that I definitely see coming up with this. So now let's get into the last major parts of this transit, and then I'm gonna get real with y'all, and we're gonna get heart to heart real quick. Please make sure you leave any questions down about this Venus and Aries transit so I can get to those in the process, but let's break this down. So now we're going over to the 16th, right? Looks good. So on the 16th, I'm also using like 3 different things right now, so bear with me. But on the 16th and the 17th, we have Venus making a square over to Pluto and Venus making a sextile to Saturn on the 16th and 17th of March, right? Venus in this position, I got you. When Venus does this, it makes these transits on this day. Not everything is supposed to be simple, yet not everything is as complicated as it needs to be. And this Venus and Aries transit is trying to bring you back to the process that you had when you might have been younger. I just dropped something. And I think one of those things too, in that literal moment too, is that my brain went from, am I going to pick this up immediately? Am I going to pick this up? Am I embarrassed to pick this up? No. Just let it be there for a second. It's okay. All I dropped was a remote, right? But I think in essence, in the way that we get taught, in the way that everyone grows up, is that like you drop something and it's a huge problem. I know that happened for a lot of people, especially people that end up being healers. It's like The little things that you would do, big problem, big issue. Why would you do that? Why would you drop this remote? Why would you make this problem? Da, 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 right? That's the negative side of Venus and Aries. And the only way to kind of combat that Venus and Aries, quote unquote, negativity is to be so assured of yourself where it's like, yeah, I dropped this. So what? This is like in Venus and Aries, someone's like, yo, I don't like the way you do that. And it's like, well, this is how I do it. What now? Right? As a matter of fact, to get even deeper, one of the things to embrace about this Venus and Aries transit is that nothing is new under the sun. Everything is derivative. And as much as you try to be original, there's something that's already done it before, or someone that's already done it before. So how are you taking the derivatives of all the things that you care about and implementing that into who you are? Because we're all pieces of a larger puzzle. We're all pieces of everything that we've ever seen before. But what are you going to do to take it to the next step? It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about mastering the wheel that you know, which is also why I'm an astrologer. Look at the wheel that we know. It's all good. It's on the other side. Look at the wheel that we know. Wow, look at us go. But that is something to keep in mind for this transit. And I think specifically on the 16th and 17th that this type of energy is going to be making itself heard tenfold. So those are the major transits. The major transits coming up with Venus and Aries, just to give y'all some leeway, just to give y'all some time and space to think about how it is that you want to implement yourself, how it is you want to tap into your own individuality, and ultimately how you want to tap into your personal fire, right? So we have gotten the transits out the way. We've gotten the boring stuff, quote unquote, out of the way. This is the time where I just start going off. So I think as much as we enjoy being entertained, I think people are afraid to be passionate. And it blows my mind because we've seen other generations before us be so scared to just do something that they liked because society would blame them or think they were dumb or just have some type of assumptions about it. So our parents' generations and the generations before have been so caught up in the hype of what was going around them. The difference between then and now is that we all have cell phones in our hands. We all have computers and monitors, and we can access any position in the world in just a click of a button. That wasn't existing before. People were so caught in the way that they were living because they were in the same neighborhoods. You had to go take a long travel in order to see someone else someplace different. Now you can throw up a FaceTime. We're right here with one another. We're connecting. We're right there. That wasn't possible before. And that doesn't take away either the need and the capacity for us to be person to person, mano a mano. The idea behind this is that the intensity that you feel, the intensity that you may harbor as someone who may be inherently spiritual, that's important. But it's up to you to know exactly where to push that energy to. It's up to you to know where you need to channel those energies at. Because it's one thing to be really at work and super competitive and making sure that you get the dollar. And it's another thing to be super competitive at home and start to burn bridges with the people that you care the most. And that's what's important about Venus and Aries, is that your feelings are going to be at the forefront. What you feel is what you think and how that ends up going. Someone just asked, can this energy be used for business or is it mainly just romance? That's an excellent question, right? So let me frame this for you. I'm going to think for a second to make sure it's as proper as can be, but I want to make sure that I get to this for you, right? So, Okay. Venus isn't just the planet of love. It's also the planet of money. So anytime we talk about Venus in astrology, consider love and money a very similar form of currency. because you can be full of love and sometimes not have money, or you can be full of money and not really get love. There are different type of energetic currencies that end up flowing. However, they're both related to Venus. When I talk about Venus and Aries, this also means that you step into work with a certain brand of confidence. And then the people that see you in this heightened state of confidence will be like, whoa, this person needs to lead. This person deserves a raise. They stepped up to the plate. This person was actually given a real conversation to our boss. And now we've just made a change because the fire that you brought to that table ends up making that difference. In terms of romance, right? It's a very similar thing in a sense, right? Where it's like, hey, yeah, you know what? I'm about to go here. I'm about to go here with it, right? I'm about to go here with it. When it comes to matters of like romance, it's like, you know the job and role that you want to play with somebody. And let's say you're a man looking for a woman in a regular like capacity, right? You're shooting your shot like it's a job application in a certain sense. You're like, hey, can I be the person to provide for you? Be here for all of these hours. Make sure that everything is set. And then on the flip end, they could either be like, no, you're not suitable for this position. Or they're like, yo, matter of fact, come on, I think I have a position for you. And then even then, what you got to do, you got to hustle, right? Every person in the world on that other person's phone. You got to hustle. You got to be like, yo, I'm right here. I'm here. What's up? I'm here. What's up? I came here. I brought you roses. I brought you roses. I brought you flowers. Good. Don't you love me? Don't you love me? I brought you what you... I'm sorry. That's very Venus and Aries. But the idea is, right, is that you can go about business in that similar regard. And Venus is trying to show you the principle of relationship more than just romance, more than just business. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's just the where is your heart's currency about to be? And how is your heart's currency making its investment? That's what happens when Venus changes signs. Is what is your heart's investment going to be for the next X amount of time? Right now, your heart's investment with Venus and Aries is centered around yourself, the things that you care for, what you want to push into the world. And it is going to honor those who are courageous enough to give something a chance when they were scared to before. That's what happens there. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some reckless people. And when Venus and Aries starts, they just get a little bit more reckless. They just get more and more reckless as time goes, right? But for those who do understand and do know what's going on, you at least get to see like, oh, this is from a place of passion. So when you do see that friend tripping out because they're like, oh, I really like care about this. You're like, oh, Venus is an Aries. This person is self-combusting. They literally don't know how to deal with this energy, right? Versus being like, yo, man, it's your fault. You ain't get the vibe. You ain't get what's going on. Like, it's not like that, right? So that's just something to keep in mind for Venus and Aries. And Venus and Aries natives, they're so cool. So if you do have Venus and Aries in your chart, you're going to be someone bold, impulsive, and just ready to rumble when it comes to everything. Venus and Aries won't start the fight, but they damn sure will end it or keep it going on longer than it needs to be or wage war in that process, and they will just obliterate you at every step possible. Have you ever talked to a Venus and Aries and you mention someone's name, and as soon as you mention their name, it's like, that name, I don't like them. And if you like them, I don't like you. Pick a side. Pick right now. That's Venus and Aries. Venus and Aries is like, do you like them or do you rock with me? But like, ultimately, it's just because Venus and Aries wants to know where your mind's at. Where's your head at? Are you about the cause? Are you for one individual? Or are you not with the cause and are you with another individual? And Venus and Aries wants to know where you stand. Because Aries bases everything off of identity, the mind, what they think, what they're putting forward. Venus and Aries are also going to be people where it's like, yo, I'm going to get what I want. They're go-getters. They're hustlers. They're like, I'm going to make sure that this is going to pull through for me. And then the receptive end is that they really want to find people that have that type of confidence and can keep up with the speed of their passion, with the speed of how quickly things change for them, right? Venus is always business, baby. Facts. Venus is always business, baby. Nah, but it's real though. It's real. Thank you. I'm in a Venus and Libra native, so I'm chill. So what's interesting, right, is that Venus and Libra even like think about what you would do and think about what someone who is completely opposite of you would do. Although you might have the same importance on like person to person and making sure personalities are respected, Venus and Aries is just like, I'm gonna just go do it. So where Venus and Libra might need to stop for a second and be like, hey, let me ask my friend over here, and hey, let me ask this person over here what they think. Venus and Aries is like, so I just did this. What you think? What you think? Thanks for letting me know. I don't care. I did what I knew was right. I love Venus and Aries people, honestly. They're just very adamant. They're just so passionate, powerful, and brave when it comes to all these things, which is such a fire sign trope as well. But yeah, not to make this video too long, I do appreciate y'all for being here. I'm gonna wait for like just any final remarks, and I'm gonna just think about something smart to say as I look over here to proceed, right? But it really is beautiful, like being able to do that. I'm gonna go once more to my website real quick. And yo, on the real, if y'all have or know anybody who wants to end up getting a reading, I also have my bottom tier reading right now. It's on sale. It's $50 just for people that want to get their feet wet into astrology. The real ones, the second tier. And for those who want to change their entire world in less than a week from just understanding what's going on there, I have my third tier, which is the everything you need to know reading. And I go off with you for an hour about everything that's going on in your life. And I'm really excited for that. I also have personal astrologer, which is perfect. I have a couple clients for that. It's been really dope to just get to like see week by week how people are improving, what areas of life people are like tapped into, and getting to read their transits for them. The amount that like I just get to like sit there, read people's transits is chef's kiss. I will be having more obviously coming up in the future for y'all, and just different ways for us to connect and really learn about the astrology and everything else. I do have a series that I'm working on. It's going to be short form, so make sure you also follow me on IG and TikTok. I have a short form series that I'm working on to give. It's an educational piece. It's going to be really pretty and cool. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well. But yeah, please get a reading if you don't want to get a reading because you've gotten one already. Send it over to a friend, right? And if you hit me up and let me know, I will make sure that it's extra special. So IG DMs open, everything else like that, let me know and I will make sure that it is fire. Absolutely so. But that's enough about this Venus and Aries. I appreciate you all for being here. So much love and appreciation. And I'm going to go do what I want because it's Venus and Aries. So I'm out this piece.